Hi there. Time for our big worm now. Now, over 7 million Aussies, 7 million have smoked dope. Look, I do that like I've actually done it. I've actually never done it. According to the National Drug Survey, now every weekend, you won't believe this, more than 100,000 ecstasy pills disappear down our throats. Ooh, ooh. On top of that, last year the UN listed Australians as the world's biggest recreational drug users. Finally, we're good at something, yeah! Give us a hand. So, here is a topic that really divides people. Get your yes-nos out. Should party drugs like marijuana, ecstasy and cocaine be legal? What do we got? Reveal it. A no, a yes, and Colin, hey?
Well, I've been in Australia for a while, so I'm going to go, yeah, nah.
Yeah, nah. If you had to pick one, which one?
I would, yes.
Okay, perfect. All right, we've got a yes, and a no. Let's go to you first, Rebel, as the odd one out.
I'm probably going to start with my strongest argument first. This is a serious topic, drugs.
It's a really serious topic.
Serious. All right.
Let's do it.
Firstly, drug dealers don't want it to become legal because then they become less cool. If it was legalised, they'd become the equivalent of like an accountant or like a fruit shop seller.
So you're on the side of the drug dealer? You're for drug dealers?
I just want to protect drug dealers' image as being badass and criminals. So,
right.
Yeah, I mean, I have other arguments too.
What about this one? Should we just accept that for some people, drugs are harmless and just get on with it?
I don't think drugs are harmless. I think the facts are that they mess with you. And, yeah, you'll see some druggo going, no, it's got no negative side effects. I'm not at all affected. I'm totally fine. Give me the keys. Like,
the stats are, though...
Really?
Yeah, 90% of recreational drug users have absolutely no bad side effects whatsoever. It's only 10% that are the problem.
Well, okay, 90% is a high number. Okay, but what drugs are we talking about in party drugs?
Marijuana.
Yeah.
Ecstasy, cocaine.
Okay. So
something
on a
for each price point there,
level,
I believe.
They are more in the family of heroin and crack.
Right.
Because there's recreational drugs that are okay, that I think maybe that statistic's from, which is alcohol and caffeine and nicotine. They have proven to have no effects. But I think marijuana, ecstasy and cocaine do actually have effects.
Let's move on to Colin and Arj, who are yeses, controversial. Very forward thinking.
You think so?
Yeah, if we legalise them, aren't we just going, fill your boots, go crazy, have as much as you like?
Well, you don't really know that, because the problem is that if you're talking about legalizing something, it's like if you want to go back to the 20s and talk about prohibition, well, if people, you know, drugs are products, people want drugs, so they're going to get drugs whether they're legal or not. So you could help a lot by legalizing drugs, the government could probably get rid of the budget deficit for one thing.
This is true.
And you could possibly build some schools and then teach children about the dangers of drugs.
It does sound funny that we could just solve all our economical problems.
Well,
but you don't know.
I think that's a bit of a druggy idea, though, to be honest. Because you think, well, the government might get money because they might tax the drugs and that'll give them income.
Right.
But in reality, there's going to be so many health and social issues that they'll have to spend the money on.
Well,
there really won't be any
Well, they
windfall.
don't know that, but there could be. You don't know about what the damage to society would be, whether that would be worse than, say, the benefits of, say, legalizing it, or, for example, there's lots of, you could say that there's going to be, there possibly or probably would be a lot less crime involved if you legalized drugs, because there's a lot of, drug users who would no longer have to commit crimes to get drugs.
Yeah,
but then, you know, you think, like your question was, okay, if people you know, if people use a lot more drugs, is the cost going to be more if more hospitalizations and more deaths due to drugs? We don't really know that. But the question really you asked was about, you know, should they be legal? I think on balance, it would make sense to legalize it. That's just what I think. I don't really think that, I think it's a really, it is a controversial subject, it is quite serious, and I think that the problem really is that people don't really talk about in Australia, or anywhere for that matter, is the problem of addiction from, you know, from a young age. You know, you're growing up in this drug society, or people drink, there is a double standard. You're allowed to drink, you're allowed to smoke yourself to death, but if you want to get high, suddenly you're a criminal.
That's right.
You know, that is a double standard.
So speaking of addicts, you're a yes.
I would take it from there. I mean, it's amazing that they'll say this is illegal, you can't do this, but some of the chemicals in Diet Coke, you know, are proven to cause, you know, disease. They're very dangerous chemicals that in small amounts are allowed. We're constantly exposed to all kinds of chemicals and other rubbish. Alcohol kills thousands of people. Just junk food alone kills way more people than ecstasy ever has. Plus, all three of these drugs have legitimate uses. You know, ecstasy was used in clinical to help couples reconciliate for therapy. Cocaine was used. Cocaine.
It was.
Cocaine. That was MDMA. Look it up. Cocaine was used for people that were having trouble talking a load of shit. Take that. California legalized marijuana for medicine over 10 years ago. I remember that day. I was, you know, I felt sick. I was sick with worry. I didn't know what to say to my doctor. I'm like, I don't know, doc. Lately I've been feeling focused and clear-headed. I set my car keys down. 5 minutes later, I know exactly where they are. Is there anything?
I love it. Now, Roy Morgan has been asking around in the quiet, oi, should party drugs be legal? The response, 80% of Australians said, no way, they're with you, Rebel, no way. I think the guys are making great points. Dan, what are our Facebook friends saying?
Well, Chrissie, when it comes to legalising party drugs, Nina Oyama has a good point on Facebook. She writes, why would you take away the criminal element from drugs? Half the fun of picking up drugs is the fear of getting stabbed and rolled by your dealer in a side alleyway. Thanks, Nina. Stay safe.
Look, Colin and Arj made some great points. Has this discussion changed your mind? Jump on Zbox and Facebook and vote in our live poll right now. After the break, we'll go to the studio audience for their views as well. Live tonight. We've been asking everyone who's not a narc, preferably, should party drugs be legal? We've got a yes, and a no here. Now, anyone along here feel like changing their vote?
Well, I just want to say that, I mean, calling them party drugs makes it sound like such a frivolous topic, but my thing is, Chrissie, is like, the government shouldn't tell you how to live your life. Once you're an adult, you should be able to make your own decisions. And they shouldn't say, you can't do this, but yeah, you can do that all you want. And they make the moral decisions for us, and that, to me, it's all just about...
What about, except for murder? I think it's all right. I think it's okay that we don't kill each other.
The government does some good things.
But if you just...
Let's go to the audience, shall we? Karen Redpath is a mum of 3 and an ex-addict. Hi, Karen. How are you, my dolls?
Hi, Chrissie.
Now, back when you were on drugs, you said you wished that you'd been arrested.
Well, that's not exactly the words that I said, but what I believe is that when people are busted and sent through the criminal justice system, they can often get directed towards a diversion program, counselling, rehab, whatever, and it can turn their lives around. And I just think that perhaps if that had happened in my case, I may not have gone through the suffering that I did because of my drug use,
So you're a no, that you think it should remain illegal?
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons,
Yeah, what are some other reasons?
Well, just one of the really basic ones is that there's a lot of people out there that don't use drugs simply because they're illegal, and we legalise them, and over the years that number will increase. You know, we're talking young people whose brains are probably not fully matured, and they see this is legal, it must be okay. And, you know, when you mentioned only 10% of party drug users have problems, that's a lot of people, and they have a lot of families and loved ones and friends who suffer because of that. So,
Yeah.
I think they say that about 30% of the population will not do illegal drugs simply because it's against the law, and I definitely fall into that category. I've never even smoked a joint. I'm square.
To find a middle ground and just make it illegal for that 10%?
you don't know if it's going to happen to you.
But I was going to say, Chrissie, when I first moved to America, I lived in Venice Beach in California, where marijuana is legal.
Not
And,
really.
well, by the state, not by the federal government. But so they've set up all marijuana shops.
The pharmacy.
It is disgusting. Like it is. And if you go online and look at like crackheads in Venice Beach and stuff, you can just see what it does to the people and the whole community. And it's really filthy, like it is. And people think, oh yeah, it's so cool, drugs are illegal here. But it's really, really bad for the community
it's just
when you
pot,
see
though,
it
isn't it?
firsthand.
Yeah, just pot that's legal. I lived in Venice for 5 years, and I wouldn't say it was the
I wonder
pot.
why.
It's not hard to get pot. You can get pot just about anywhere in the world. You know, it being illegal hasn't really stopped that from being available. But I think Venice is just a little bit dirty. Actually, I don't think the pot shops made much difference.
But making it legal makes it much more accessible and available to people that wouldn't otherwise get into it.
Well, they've had that experiment in Holland, and you know, it's been legal there for a while, and I think the statistics say that drug use has not increased any. You can get it there in coffee shops, but there hasn't been a rising epidemic of further pot use because it's legal.
All the, you know, the police force, everyone's talking about this war of drugs and waging a war on drugs.
Yeah, well, that's just rubbish.
Well, you're right, it's failing. It's failing really
I don't think
badly.
there is a war. It's just everyone's complicit in the drug trade right up to the top.
Right.
You know, so you
That's
know,
a whole other
they
can of
tell you
worms.
there's a war on drugs, but it's not really.
Don't you think that, Rebel, that we've got to do something else? We've got to change tax somehow?
Yeah,
80%
I mean,
of Australians,
legalising
70%.
drugs is not going to do anything good for the country. And I don't, like, when you see it in other countries, I don't want Australia turning like that. And I just... Now I feel like I'm on drugs.
Well, let's do a hypothetical, all right? Imagine this. Riddle me this.
Okay.
You have got a 16-year-old daughter. It's Friday night, and she's got two options to go to. One is a party at home where there's going to be lots of dope, and two is a party at a pub where there's going to be lots of booze. She's underage / illegal for both.
Yeah.
She's going to go to one. Which one? We got 1 minute.
Yeah, I'd say the alcohol option.
Yeah, booze.
Yeah.
Write herself off.
Yeah.
Oh, round of applause for that. Colin, hey, what would you choose?
What would I choose
For your daughter.
for my daughter? Oh, it can't be neither, right?
Can't be neither. You're getting help from the audience, which is very good.
Well, you know, so the choice is what? Letting her go to a pub if she's underage?
Yep,
No, I
and
wouldn't
having
let her
some
do that.
booze. Going to a party at home and having some...
Well, I wouldn't let her do that either.
God, you're hard. Arj, what would you do?
Well, I mean, it's a tough choice. It's not a fun choice. Neither of them are going to make you happy. But I'd say the party with the weed, because, you know, she's going to go there, she's going to get stoned, everyone's going to get quiet and fall asleep. And at the pub, you know, there's predatorial drunk people walking around. It's a lot scarier. I think a lot more dangerous of an environment. I know people that smoke pot.
Perfect. You've sold us all. Now, what do you reckon? You've still got time to vote in our poll at ZBox and Facebook. We'll bring you the result and watch Dan Ilic steal stuff from work next. Can we get some party drugs for Arj Barker, please? Should party drugs be legal? Now, according to our ZBox and Facebook poll, behave yourselves, you naughty people. ZBox and Facebook poll, 73% of you say no still. Now, one of the delights of working on this show is the audience worm suggestions from you. Now, this year, we have decided to send the gorgeous, magnificent, sort of rodent-like Dan Ilic out to track down some answers.
Sarah Wickham asks us, is it okay to steal toilet paper from work? Absolutely. You should try and steal everything you can. What's a rove? Oh, love this show. Yeah, I'll take that. Yeah, I'll take that. No, just get that there.
Making news this hour on 10. Incredible scenes outside a Sydney court as 10 men with alleged bikie links have been arrested over the shooting of 2 German tourists in Phuket. Expected showers in the afternoon and Darwin a top of 33 and afternoon thunderstorms. And that's the latest from the newsroom. Thanks for your company. I'm Natasha Belling. Hope you can join us tomorrow again for 10 News. We'll see you there. Thanks for your company.
Harsh Belling. See that gorgeous little bottom on your shoulder? What else did you steal from work, Dan?
Well, I actually happened to steal Charlie Pickering's old hairstyle, which is great. If you want me to investigate your worm, hit us up on Facebook. We are Can of Worms TV.
Speaking of Facebook, some of you have already wormed your way into the show with a couple of questions. Here's one. Is it okay to put your stuff in someone else's bin? Quick, Rebel Wilson, is it?
Yeah, unless it's body parts.
Okay, excellent. Keep them coming, and we're going to play with those. Now, that is all for tonight, sadly. Please thank our gorgeous guests. I know, Arj Barker, Colin Hay and Rebel Wilson. Now, Rebel is co-hosting the project tomorrow night at 6:30, so don't miss that. And Arj and Colin are touring the nation. In fact, Colin's just announced a Sydney Opera House show. How fancy. Check our website and Facebook page for details of both. Next week, the fabulous Bryn Edelstein live here. Fashionista Alex Perry with the sunglasses on his head and gorgeous funny man Limo. Australia, we really do need to talk, and next Monday we'll do it all again. We've had so much fun. We'll see you then.